Bonehawks, this video is all about Mortal Kombat 1, and this is just 5 random tips. These are just things that either I didn't think would make a whole video, but I still found important enough to share. So if you like these kinds of things, just completely all over the place, let me know and I'll do more of them, because I got all sorts of stuff up here that needs to be released. That being said, let's get into it.
Accept your death.
Tip number 1 is panic breaking. So I see people do this all the time online. They get hit by something and then they immediately break, like right off the bat without even seeing like how much damage it might do. Sometimes they know, like if you get hit by this, break, because you're losing half your health. But a lot of the times people will just kind of break as soon as they get hit and they're not breaking a whole lot. So for example, let's say that we're using young Shang Tsung here. And we've got young Raiden jumps at us. We hit him with boom. That right there, 142 damage. That is not worth a breaker. So you're not going to know obviously every single scenario, but there are some parts where you kind of get the feeling like it's not going to do that much damage, and then kind of watch it. And then if it starts to creep up there, and you're like, maybe. But there's also a point of no return where like you don't want to take 300 damage and then break, because then you've only really saved yourself like 50 health or whatever the rest of the combo is. Again, maybe it's a Raiden combo and you save yourself 200 damage, that's different. But a lot of the times it's just kind of a short little amount. They don't know the amount, when really it wasn't going to do a whole lot extra, and now you don't have any meter at all for any offense or anything like that. But don't just break at the first sign of a hit unless it's the last round and you literally can't afford to take any damage. Yeah, just make sure that you're smart with your breaker. That's a lot of meter to waste. So this next one is specifically for Baraka and Cyrax, because there's a lot of those roaming around, and this one trick really helped me beat him, just kind of really shut down his options. So off of this string here, he's going to want to call Cyrax after that to kind of keep him safe. The second hit of his down forward 2, after that there's a gap between the second and the third hit. If you hit him out of this gap, it will ruin any pressure and you'll also hit Cyrax at the same time. This may vary a little bit depending on your character and what their armor move is like, but this one worked really good for me in Shang Tsung. I'll kind of give you an example here. So right in that gap after this, the 1-2, you hear like the boom of the EX. You're not always going to EX it, but that second hit, I'll just show you the actual move itself. Oh, 1-2 gap. 1-2 gap. I'll show it visually again. Boom, armor. I was using the old Shang armor for this, because yeah, the young one. Baraka can call Cyrax in early to cover that gap if he wants to, but that is going to shut down way more chip damage than you would have received had he done it otherwise. So this is a good one to really throw Baraka players off. I played a Baraka online earlier, and doing that, they just really had no options. They didn't really know what else to do. They were just kind of so used to doing that and it working that I was just starting to armor through and ruined every single setup. Random tip about Baraka. This third one is for Rain, and I really don't know how you're supposed to know this, because in the moves list it doesn't mention it at all. Under his overhead is forward 3. That one goes into a devil overhead. You can actually cancel this overhead into a throw. So you do the overhead and then you press the throw input, and instead of doing the overhead, he does a throw attack. Again, maybe I'm missing something. I don't play Rain, but this is a pretty strong mix-up, especially because if someone's going to try and up-block your overhead, and then you counter their up-block with a throw, and you get 170 damage because they tried to up-block. So I'm sure that all you designated Rain mains knew this, but if someone's new to Rain or picking them up, that's kind of what our channel is all about, is helping each other out. So maybe you didn't know that, now you do. Tip number 2 is to pay attention to how much meter you're using. There's an issue in the moves list right now with Shang Tsung, where if we go to our special moves, enhanced injection, it says costs 1 bar of meter. That is not the case. It's actually costs 2 bar of meter once I get to the right form. So yeah, be careful. Reiko, for example, his move list is correct. It says that his move does take 2 bars of meter, but there are other moves in the game that cost 2 bars of meter as well. So just make sure that you kind of just look those over and say, okay, I have this move that I've been doing. I didn't realize I was spending 2 bars the whole time, because I played for about almost a week before I realized that this little transformation thing is 2 bars, which I'm fine with. That's a good balance because it's a pretty strong move. And if for whatever reason you weren't sure what Reiko's 2-bar move does, generally his command grab will whiff against ducking opponents. If he uses 2 bars, it turns into a true mid. It's 210 damage. So generally speaking, the counter to a command grab is just to duck it, but Reiko can spend bar to ignore that and pretend that that doesn't exist and just throw you anyways. Should be noted that his regular throw will hit you anyways if you're ducking and blocking, but if you're not blocking, then it'll whiff. Just an extra tip, I guess. And kind of coming full circle, our number 1 tip is against Kenshi, just be aware that if he doesn't have Sento out, his combos aren't going to do that much. So if you can afford to, maybe don't break. Because he's going to be about 270 to 290 damage. But with Sento out, he's going to be hitting upwards of 500. So you're going to want to probably save that breaker for when Sento comes out. And I say when because good Kenshi will get that out on the screen at some point in time. They'll figure it out, trust me. And that's it, just 5 random facts to help you improve in Mortal Kombat 1. If you found this helpful, if you did, please leave a like because it really helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't because I make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff, and we'll see all you Bonehawks in the next video.
Accept your death.